So last time we did this, it was a giant technical error. I mean, I forgot to hit record. I'll still blame Zoom, but in actuality, it was my fault. Okay. Well, so first of all, thanks everybody for joining here. And we're going to get some more folks rolling in. Really appreciate everybody taking time here. What I thought we would start with actually is a couple introductions around the table just from our core management team here at Braintrust. And so I'll go last. I would love maybe Mark Williams, if you'd go first, maybe give a little introduction, tell us where you're coming from, tell us what your role on the core team is and that sort of thing.
All right, my pleasure. I'm Mark Williams, our head of operations here at Braintrust. I have been in technology consulting for about 20 years, based out of Seattle, Washington. I started my career with Accenture, worked with clients like Microsoft and the federal government and AT&T, T-Mobile. And over the years, I liked that model. I loved working for a big company and the learnings there. But I decided to help start a couple smaller consulting companies. I helped start Slalom Consulting and a company called Radius that was just recently acquired by Luxoft and DXC. I was honestly trying to get out of the business when I ran into Gabe and Adam and heard about what they were building here at Braintrust and immediately knew that it was the right way to build a company. And so I was very excited to get on board here. As the head of operations, my job kind of falls in three areas. One is helping employers and clients get on the platform easily and smoothly, find talent, get their projects started, and hopefully pay their invoices. The second part of my job is just working with all of you guys. So making sure that you find the jobs that you are looking for, you can get feedback quickly on how the process is going, and work with any questions on how things work on the platform, the bidding process, invoicing process. And then the third part of my job is making the product better. So just make things run a little bit more smoothly for everyone, so both sides of the marketplace have a good experience here. I look forward to working with all of you in the future.
Awesome. Thank you, Mark. Anne, how about you? You want to go next?
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name's Anne. I'm the chief of staff here at Braintrust. And a huge part of my job is making sure that you, the talent, have what you need to be successful on the platform and are paired with employers that really appreciate the skills that you bring to the table. Prior to joining Braintrust, I was at another startup in the Silicon Valley area. And prior to that, I was living and working in New York in the PR space. So it's great to meet all of you, and please don't hesitate to reach out ever if I can do anything to be helpful.
Awesome. Thank you. Gabe, how about you?
Hey everyone, my name is Gabe Luna Ostaseski. I'm the co-founder of Braintrust. Adam and I have known each other for about 10 years in Silicon Valley as founders. And when Adam and I first started jamming on this idea, the part that I got really passionate about was the idea that we'd be moving away from these like high fee marketplaces that take a huge tax out of what the freelancer makes, and moving towards kind of a 0% fee environment with Braintrust. And also I really like the idea of a network being owned by the people versus owned by a central corporation or owned by a small group of people in Silicon Valley. So it's great that we have so many people that believe what we believe and are here to help us kind of shape the next generation of platforms, I think, that will be owned by the people. So what I run in the business right now is mainly our employer side. So actually on the road right now, bringing on some more large employers, large enterprises. So I work on that side of the house, and so we're kind of getting the engine cranked up and continuing to add. We're adding about one enterprise a week right now, and it seems to continue to pick up steam. So thank you all for your patience and understanding that like we're in the early days of this thing, and we're bringing on more and more employers every single week. And our job is to help ensure that there's lots and lots of projects on the platform with great employers for all of you. And while it's still early, we've seen that like our story and our narrative and what we're building is really connecting with Fortune 500 companies. And so I think you'll start seeing a lot more large enterprises come onto the platform in the coming weeks and months. And if they're not, then you can email me and rag on me for not bringing enough jobs for you guys.
I thought that was my job.
Anyway,
Awesome.
Know that we're working hard behind the scenes, traveling all over the country, meeting with enterprises, helping to try to bring on more companies with more projects for all of you.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Gabe. And I'd love to also introduce, this is stealing the thunder a little bit from later in the presentation, but one of our good friends and formal advisors and actually will be a spokesperson for the company and the project, Cory Johnson is on board. I'd love, Cory, if you're on, do you want to give a quick hello and background and intro? I'm hoping Cory's on. He just texted me and said he wanted to say hi. All right, maybe Cory will chime in later. He's texting me right now. Anyway, okay, back to the agenda here, folks. So what I'd like to do is, after we got through our core intros here, I'd love to do a quick recap around the vision for Braintrust, why we're doing this, what's the point, why is this different than a lot of other networks. So I'm just going to run through a few quick high-level points here. I'm going to pitch back to Gabe on one topic. And if you could either hold your questions to the end or shoot them into the chat box, and Ann will help collect them. We're going to have lots of time at the end for questions. But anyway, kind of the reason, and a quick intro of myself too, for those new people who haven't met me yet. I'm a software engineer by training. I actually put myself through college in Nashville, Tennessee, by being a freelance PHP developer and MySQL developer. I was actually a minor contributor to PHP, and really understood kind of all the upsides and downsides to freelancing and what made it, I became obsessed with like how could people make a career out of it, right, and really specialize with it. So I left college and moved to San Francisco, and since I've been here, I've started now this is my fourth venture-backed company. They're all marketplaces, all in different categories. The first two had successful exits. The third one is called Doctor on Demand, which is a very large and growing company, hopefully go public soon. And then this Braintrust is really my passion project. I'm very freelancing and especially within technical product development is a passion of mine. It's always been near and dear to my heart. And so we started Braintrust with the following core belief. We think that user-owned networks or companies will grow faster and be more valuable than investor-owned networks and companies. And so this, we didn't invent this idea. There are co-ops like NYSE and REI and employee-owned companies that have been very successful. But this has never really been done on a global scale. So this model we're implementing with Braintrust, frankly, it could work on any marketplace category. We chose to start with tech. And so we're building this network because we believe people should be able to work on cool projects, keep 100% of their rate, have ultimate flexibility on when they work and where they work from, and have a big say in how the network grows. And so, I think this is a very obvious value prop to the talent. That's why all of you are sitting here. We get the question a lot of times, like, why do our clients love this? So I'll kick it back to Gabe to kind of talk about kind of client, like how we entice clients onto the platform.
Great. Yeah, very topical. Obviously on the road right now, just spent the past 2 days with a $100 billion company, and with the chief information officers of that organization, telling this story. So it's top of mind for me right now. There's a few different things. So first off, I think people are seeing, especially companies that are have a lot of open recs, these large enterprises, they see the kind of the writings on the wall that they can't hire this kind of varied talent locally. So they're kind of in this situation where now I need to expand my reach and hire across all different geographies, and also hire new skill sets that I maybe have never hired before. So you have scenarios where you have like pharmaceutical companies needing to hire data scientists, or CPG companies having to hire, machine learning people or product managers for new e-commerce experiences. And so these large enterprises are going through, I would say, a whole round of changes of the types of talent that they need to collaborate with, and also the jobs that they need to get done are changing faster than ever. They're also having a real challenge, actually, like I'll say, attracting and retaining that talent. In many cases, they're in places that you might not want to live, or they're in places where there's not a great density of machine learning talent or product development talent. And so what we would say, like, our value prop is not, it's actually really about finding the super high quality people that have these kind of skill sets and that can plug in and essentially help them solve problems. It's not for them, they're not concerned necessarily about saving money. So it's not like an offshore value proposition. What we're saying is, listen, we have the best people for the jobs that you need to get done, and these people are ready and waiting to be able to actually help you. And that seems to be resonating really well with the enterprises. The other thing that resonates really well is that in these high fee environments, right? Like I'll pick on the TopTals of the world and the Upworks of the world and Gigsters of the world, like where the freelancer has to pay a big fee or pay a big tax, in some cases up to 50% of your earnings. Those oftentimes there's the incentives aren't aligned, and there's, for the freelancer, like, there's a large incentive to try to go around the platform, which is understandable. So what we essentially are telling enterprises is, listen, this is a network that's actually owned by the people. And because you don't pay us any fees, we can get the best people in the world that are highly aligned and incentivized because you're owners in the network, and also because we don't charge you any fees. So find great people, work with them in a really flexible way, and being able to kind of like scale up to meet new challenges. Those are the core value props for the enterprise. And it just seems to be really resonating. We have about 200 large enterprises in the pipeline, and we're adding about one a week right now.
Nice. Well said. Thanks, Gabe.
Yep.
And, just so everybody on the call knows, Gabe and I have been working on this now for almost 2 years. We built this network. A lot of agencies exist to exploit this sort of geographic arbitrage in rates between some parts of the world where hourly rates might be really low, and then the willingness to pay in different parts of the world might be really high. And these agencies just basically take that margin, and that could be a giant margin, right? Could be hundreds of dollars an hour sometimes. We exist to destroy that margin, right? We want to connect talent with enterprises as closely as possible. And we do this with a flat, it's not like we take no fees, we take this flat 10% margin. And that's, you decide what your hourly rate is. We're gonna, as our network gets more mature, we'll even help you determine what that rate should be. But in the meantime, you set your rate, we charge the client an extra 10%. And that's just to cover the cost of the network, right? We're here to be sort of the one-stop shop for enterprises to find great talent. Behind the network, we've got what we call the core team. So you just met Gabe, Ann, and Mark. There's just a couple others. The core team is less than 10 folks. Most of us are on the West Coast of the United States. There's a couple spread out in other parts of the country and other parts of the world. But our job here is to build the initial network, recruit great talent like you guys, and then build systems that will allow us to grow the talent marketplace in a peer-to-peer, in a very fair and transparent fashion. Our other job is to bring great clients on the platform. So that's what Gabe, and he's got several full-time folks as well, and myself that work hard on bringing these clients on. And then we're working hard on setting up a system that basically rewards the network for growing and curating itself. And it does that primarily through this token. So I'll get to a little bit more about the token later, but it's also important to note, everyone who's built, so we have no in-house tech people. I mean, just me. Everyone who's built Braintrust so far have actually been freelancers on the platform. So I'll just do a few call outs here, and apologies, I'll probably miss a couple, but we have the Hexocean team in Poland is building out a lot of the core infrastructure. Robot Koala here in Berkeley, California did our initial designs. Stas and his team down in New Zealand have contributed. Bryce in Texas on UI. Aiden, who's in Japan or Europe, depending on which day you get him, on the token. Kelly, project managing in Seattle. Edlin out in Portugal. Chris and Magnus in the Netherlands, and the list goes on and on. So these are all folks that are freelancers on the platform and are actually contributing to the platform. And that's how you know you're really eating your own dog food there when you got to build your own product with your actual supply. And so what really separates us here from a normal dev shop or a normal agency is the fact that we're user owned, and our instrument of ownership is this token. It's a cryptographic token. It's built on the Ethereum blockchain that using the ERC20 standard. It'll be called Btrust. It's not a live token yet. We're still working on it. We're playing on testnet with it. But it's the incentive mechanism that we use to reward our users for building the network. And when I say building, I don't mean just physically like coding and designing, but also referring new talent, vetting new talent, referring more clients, eventually staking tokens as a bid differentiator to make yourself stand out in proposals. These are all great uses of our token. It's what really separates us from the way kind of top-down hierarchy agencies work. And so we've already had thousands of people make referrals already. Thank you so much. I mean, that's a big part of how we've already grown the talent base. Keep it going. Use your unique referral code inside the dashboard there, and you'll get credit for everything that you refer, and you'll eventually be paid tokens for all the transaction volume that people you refer complete. And so those are all things, we'll get to the product roadmap later, but those are all things that we're working on, and that's kind of the vision of the network. So that brings us into the network update. We're over 300 now approved and vetted talent. And so that's a lot of folks here on the call. We always need more as we get more specific clients on. So please keep an eye on the Slack channel. If you see jobs that are aging, if you refer friends, you're going to earn tokens for that. We've got a sales team now, 3 full-time folks under Gabe. We've brought some amazing clients on board already. Gabe's, Nestle and Deloitte, TaskRabbit, Blue Cross Blue Shield, literally hundreds more coming into the pipeline, as Gabe mentioned. Next, I'd like to kick it over to Mark to talk about our product roadmap and what we're working on and what's coming up.
All right, thanks, Adam. First of all, before we get started, I just wanted to remind everyone how important it is to fill out complete profiles. I saw Dana and Kelly on the platform. They're some of our early joiners in this network, and they were some of the first ones to also fill out great looking profiles that have been part of some of our pitches going out to clients, and also part of our user testing with employers. So we've done a fair amount of research sitting down with people, asking them what makes it easier or easiest for them to find talent. How do they make their decisions on who they're going to screen or not? And one thing that it always comes up is how important it is to have that complete profile so they can quickly scan through 100 resumes and determine who they want to talk to. So I know it's a little bit of work. We've tried to make it as easy as possible, just filling out the work experience, skills, kind of rating yourself on how good you are at the different skills you have listed, and it really comes through on those profiles. So thank you very much for those of you who have completed them. And if you haven't had a chance or need to build it out, it certainly helps you stand out when you get in front of clients and announce yourself as being interested in part of a project. Next up, we have something called the Certified Network Expert coming. And what this is a group of people who we have worked with or vetted, who we know have a great understanding of their expertise. And in the proposals that we have when we meet with one of these enterprise clients who has a specific need, we'll be able to highlight these people as network experts who really have a good understanding of that area, and they'll also help us screen some of the people on the network. So when we have these jobs that pop up, they'll kind of stand out a little bit higher than someone who's just come in off the street. So it's kind of another way for you to kind of show your expertise in this area. Adam, is there anything you want to talk about on the network expert before I continue on the product roadmap?
Yeah, so we'll talk more about this feature later, but basically the network expert feature we're building is going to allow people to really differentiate themselves in certain focus areas. So if you are passionate about TensorFlow or iOS or building Python Django apps, you can actually escalate your profile by taking tests, kind of verifying more of your experience in that skill set. And then you kind of get this badge and this sort of delineation of a network expert in this field. And what that gets you is you'll actually be featured in proposals that we send out to clients, and we'll, push your hourly rate, and we'll feature you as the person that, is a great bet, kind of a de-risked person to try out on a project. So it gets you front and center with clients. It really helps you stand apart. We're going to be giving out tokens to everyone who participates in the program. Even if you just try it out and you end up not becoming the expert, we're going to give lots of incentives and rewards there for people taking the time, because we know building this stuff out takes valuable time, and we don't expect you to do it for free. So that's coming. Chris is working on that with Magnus, and that should be live probably in the next month.
Perfect. All right. Thank you. Next up, so as I mentioned at the top of the call, one of my jobs is just making sure that both sides of the marketplace have a good experience here. So clients are able to find great people quickly, and you guys understand where you are in the process and where an employer is in their screening. So we have two main features coming up over this next month, and we work in 1 week sprints with our dev team. So you'll see launches to production almost every week. Sometimes we go 2 weeks, but there's new things coming almost every week. And the next two kind of main ones up that are user facing are better messaging on the platform. This is one of the big differentiators between us and other agencies, that transparency of who the employers are working with. And once you bid on work, or say you're interested in working on a project, that allows the employer to contact you directly. And a lot of companies don't allow that. They kind of want to keep everyone behind the scenes while they work out a deal and figure out their margin. And so fixing or improving that messaging process just beyond email, what it is now, is very important. And so you'll see kind of that back and forth messaging will be on platform. So you can see all of the messages you've sent, and from an employer standpoint, they can message multiple people in the context of that specific job. So it will hopefully speed up things on their end. In addition, the one I'm really excited about is bid feedback. So I know how important it is for all of you to, once you've placed a bid, hear kind of a status on where things are in a project. What this is going to allow employers to do is immediately mark the people that they want to screen or have a conversation with to progress through that interview process if they are interviewing. And also click bids as it doesn't look like it's going to work if it's a time zone or a skills mismatch. So we'll be able to immediately give you an email, just an automated email like, hey, this one, they're interested in talking to you, expect to hear from them soon, or it doesn't look like this one's going to work out, move on to the next project. So very excited for that one. If you have other things that you would like to recommend to speed up that process, we're happy to hear them. We want to make this as easy as possible for everyone who's interacting with the platform. And with that, another thing that's going to come up, like the more we automate, the better automated nudges we'll be able to give to employees. So we're not reliant on checking in with them every day manually. The system will be able to help them get to that next step in the process, whether it's screening or clicking that hire button to get you guys working. And then finally, kind of the big thing that that you will see coming is the referral engine tuning. So Adam mentioned the referral links that you have. I'm sure you all know you have your own unique one. That's how we track in the system who should get credit for referring either talent to work on specific jobs with skills we're looking for, or clients. And you can email any of us on the core team to introduce that client to us, and then you'll get a piece of that work ongoing. So that referral engine will be constantly tuning to automatically adjust rewards in tokens, and you'll see that on Slack and on the platform. So very excited to get that going. That's going to really help us with some of getting you guys more ownership in the network and helping our clients find the right people. I think those are the main things I want to talk about on product roadmap. Did I miss anything, Adam?
No, that's great. It's we always try to bite off just a bit more than we can chew. So sounds about right. And look, and this roadmap is basically completely driven by your feedback, everyone on this call. So that has been relatively informal, anecdotal, not systematized. As we progress through the year, we'll have kind of a formal process for submitting ideas. We'll actually vote on them. Like, this is going to be a completely community-owned, community-driven roadmap. So more on that later. We're not quite there yet, but still building it. With that, I'd like to kick it over, change gears a little bit, and talk about, we've been in stealth. We've been very quiet here from a PR perspective, but that is about to change this year. So I'd like to kick it back over to Ann to talk a little bit about our PR efforts coming up.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Adam. So I know all of you are probably eager to see more about Braintrust out there in the media, et cetera. And so I'm excited to share with you that we're going to be doing more of a PR effort in Q1 and Q2 of this year. We've brought on a PR agency, and we've also brought on Cory Johnson. Cory, is your audio working now?
Loud and clear. Let's see if you can hear me now.
We can hear you now.
You can hear me now. Here I am.
Cory, do you want to introduce yourself?
Right. Yeah. Hey, everybody. I'm Cory Johnson. I don't know if I'll torture the video. Well, let's go all in here. So I was a technology reporter for a long time for Bloomberg and CNBC, and worked at the startup Ripple recently. And I'm pretty stoked about this. I mean, when I was listening to the description of what Adam and Gabe are doing to kind of build this engine, I look at my job as kind of pouring jet fuel into this engine and making sure that not only do you guys get the best possible gigs to do, but that everyone knows about us and everyone knows that what Braintrust is and the quality work that we're going to do and the global scale of what we're going to do. So we're really, really big and really perceived as being really talented and exceptional right from the start. And I'm super stoked to work for all you guys. And in a truly networked fashion, I thought I'd go video and let you guys see the rest of California right now.
Awesome. Thanks, Cory. So in partnership with Cory and our PR agency, and actually all of you, we're going to be launching a PR campaign again in Q1 and Q2 of this year. What we'd ask is that you just keep quiet for now about PR, not tweeting about us or posting anything about us yet. And we're going to follow up with more specific instructions on how you can be involved in kind of this like grassroots PR effort in the coming weeks and months. So definitely stay tuned for that. A lot of our advisors, investors, et cetera, will also be involved. So we're glad that you're a part of this community, and we'll definitely call on you to help as well. Also, one thing to note, we're aiming for a summer public launch of the network and the token. So we're going to first announce Braintrust and what we do, but the token won't go live until this summer. So more on that to come.
You also want to talk about our 1% pledge as well, Ann?
Yes. Awesome. So Braintrust, we're proud members of the 1% initiatives, which means we give 1% of the time on the network to charities and groups that are in need. And so we kicked off this initiative working with Youre, which is an organization that aims to kind of democratize work for everyone. So help underserved, underprivileged communities have access to high-paying jobs and careers. And so with big thanks to Habu and Edline, we were able to help Youre build an app that helps high school age 18 to 20-ish kids figure out what career is right for them, and help kind of demystify those job descriptions that have a lot of crazy cover letter jargon in them, and really baseline them down to the skills required. So you'll be seeing a lot more from us on 1%. We'll be posting the jobs on Braintrust, and you can bid on those jobs. And again, that would be a donation of whatever time you would be able to put forth towards that project. So big thanks again to Edline and Habu for their work on this first 1% project, and lots more to come.
Awesome. Thank you, Ann. All right. Well, we covered a lot of ground there, and now we have time for questions. So I see a lot of folks have put into the chat box. I'm actually going to start with the list that folks submitted through the Google form, because I went and consolidated a bunch. There were a bunch that we got 2 or 3 times. So let me start there, then I'll move over to the chat box. Okay, first one, David asked about the vetting process for freelancers and agencies. So we covered this a little bit. Important to know that we are starting Braintrust off here with extremely experienced people, sort of mid or later in their career, not a lot of junior people. And this is mainly because this is the type of talent that our enterprise clients need. We'll eventually go downstream and bring in a more inclusive set from an experience standpoint. And so our vetting process is, it started out just people we know, then it's word of mouth, and now we're building this really sophisticated peer-to-peer testing system I mentioned earlier. Another question, how are jobs automatically sent to me? Great question. It is almost exclusively based on the skill set that you set on your profile. So if you say you are a level 4 or 5 Python engineer, you're going to get Python jobs routed to you. So the more sort of accurate and inclusive that skill set is, the more automatic jobs you're going to be sent via email. Also, please, of course, take a look at our Slack channel. That's where we advertise new roles as well that we're having trouble filling. Chris asked, who will give out the tokens and when? And so those in the beginning days, our team here is giving them out. Basically, at any time someone's helping, build the network or refer talent. The software eventually, it's doing this today, but eventually it will be completely up to the software in the rules that the community decides to give the software around giving out the token. So for instance, we're testing out, giving out 1% of any business you refer from a client perspective. 1% of that business will be paid to you as a bonus in our token. The token will have a fixed supply of 250 million tokens and will not inflate. That was a good question we had around inflation schedule. It is a fixed supply of tokens. Let's see, Milan asked, actually a lot of people asked about this one. Can we get feedback about submitted bids? And I think Mark addressed this in the product section. This is a really popular request and one that is obviously really critical. We're working hard to collect feedback. It's really like, it's annoying to submit a bid and then not know what happened. Did the job even fill? What's the deal? It's a really shitty experience today on most platforms, and we're working hard to make it much better. So you'll see progress there soon. Simon asked, can we have an availability feature, i.e., when a new opportunity comes out, ping people and see if they're available or not. This is like you're reading our roadmap right back to us. This is also on the roadmap, a really important one. You'll actually see it as part of the talent redesign we're about to roll out here in a few weeks. Simon also mentioned building on-demand teams for startups. I love this. I think others have had some success here. We do have a bunch of teams on the platform already. As far as building the on-demand feature, I think that's a marketing exercise. So we should talk offline about how we execute that. Tomas asked, will you guarantee payment if a client doesn't pay their invoice? The answer is yes, absolutely. We even have insurance now that will help us in those situations. Fortunately, I don't see that being a problem. We are extremely careful with who we let onto the network, obviously on the talent side, but of course on the client side as well. We have said no to many stupid clients that just wanted to get the cheapest possible rate and are looking to be a bad actor on the platform. And there are plenty of other places on the internet to go to do that. Braintrust is not one of them. Shahirar, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. The awesome comment here. Thanks so much. He said, how can I further contribute to helping Braintrust? And so this is we love this question. We get this a lot. It's really simple. There's kind of 3 or 4 things you can help us with. One is referring more talent, especially talent that you see are needed by Braintrust clients. So if you get some, like we had some need for skill, Elasticache and Dart 2, these are sort of obscure things. I wasn't even sure what those were. If you know people, that have skills that are needed, refer them with your code, your unique code, and you'll get paid Braintrust tokens for that referral. Eventually, we're going to build this peer-to-peer talent screening system. I know, Shahyar, this is a area where you mentioned you could help out. We will absolutely be asking for help there. And then contributing roadmap ideas like everybody has today has been really awesome. So look, we're building this, it's for us, by us, and anytime you see something that we could be doing better, shoot me an email, shoot Mark an email, hit us on Slack. That's what we're here for.
We always, just a quick comment there. It's like, we always encourage people to act like an owner because you are an owner. And so we try to treat this with that kind of love and respect. And obviously we want you to all feel enrolled and included, to be able to act like an owner and make suggestions that will make your experience better and that will help the network grow. Because when the network grows, all of us benefit. Exactly.
Okay, let me go to the chat room comments. Some of these I've hit, some I haven't here. Praveen, I've been part of the platform for 2 months. We received nothing. Well, Praveen, you got to bid on jobs.
No, I did. Sorry to interrupt, but I did bid, but there is no such output yet.
Yeah, I totally agree. We got to do a much better job on giving feedback around when your bid doesn't win. So I promise you, we are going to get better at that. Let's see, who else we have here? I hit that one. Oh, I love cynicism is part of my DNA. Me too. That's actually the only part of my DNA is cynicism. I don't understand bidding on work. How is that any different than pay-to-play biz models like eBay or Deal Dash? Not sure I understand the question. It's definitely not pay-to-play. You don't pay for anything. You only bid on the work. It is a marketplace though, like eBay. It is.
Yeah, we've had this a couple of times, so if I can take a shot at this. So
please.
We're certainly not asking you to bid or say, hey, I want the chance to get this job. Here's $5.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's just showing your interest in the project at your hourly rate. So there's 2 really important reasons we do this. First of all is transparency. So the employers who have posted a job see the people who are available to do that work. We're not just spamming resumes to the client saying, we might be able to find someone like this. It's you saying you are interested and available to do this work. and you have complete control over your hourly rate. So we don't tell you what to charge when you work with someone. The market will work itself out. So if you bid $1,000 an hour and someone bids $50 an hour and you have similar skills, that marketplace is going to probably favor the slightly cheaper bid there. But it's certainly not a race to the bottom on rates. What we're seeing.
So you're not bidding tokens. You're not like getting, say, I'm going to, okay. That's where I see my cynicism trips me up all the time. So
seems to be it's a terminology thing and I'm seeing this in the chat as well. It's just like it's terminology thing. I think people might be getting confused around like a bid. The reality is like it's more submitting you're kind of putting yourself forward, showing interest in being included in that project.
It's more of a bid process like you would think for an RFP or something, an RFQ, and or like, you know, you're going to local government bidding on a project. Like
I would say it's more like apply. That would be a better terminology.
Okay. Then that might be something that you guys think of, you know, as the executive part of this. Of if people are getting tripped up, I don't imagine that, you know, I'm the only one. Could be, but if people are getting tripped up with the terminology, maybe the terminology needs to be changed. I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there, but bid is getting confused with something else.
Yeah, good feedback, Michael. Thanks. To be clear, I think anybody who goes through our onboarding process and reads the FAQ will know this, but not everybody does. So that's very understandable. All our jobs are paid for in cash. So employers want to spend cash, freelancers want to earn cash, whether that's US dollars, euros, doesn't matter to us. We have partners like TransferWise that will transfer into your local currency. The tokens are just used as an incentive mechanism. We don't ask anyone to take payment there.
See, I thought you like had to give tokens up to like be able to apply for that job, you know. So I apologize for the clarification. Like I said, I'm always cynical about when it comes to money. So I have to ask.
Me too, my friend. Me too.
As you should be. So we're happy to answer those questions for you. Thanks for
thank you.
Moving along. What's the difference between AngelList and Braintrust? Good question. AngelList is a job board. That is, you post a job, you get applicants, and then all the screening and all of the money and reputation and consummation of the transaction is all handled offline. Braintrust is not a job board. It is a place for talent to connect with opportunities on a contract basis, I should say. So most of the postings you see on Braintrust are not for full-time roles. They may have originated as full-time roles that the company just can't fill. So now they want some freelancers to look at them. But Braintrust handles the vetting, the establishment of trust, and the payment, and then the reviews and ratings at the end. So whereas AngelList is a job board, Braintrust is a marketplace. Shahira, I got that one. Thank you. Yeah, Omar, thanks for asking this. I could see jobs are full-time. We're gonna have part-time jobs soon. That'll ease the transition. Yeah, that's that point I was making earlier. They're actually all contract jobs. So they might like be a full-time commitment hours wise, or they could be, many of them are part-time commitments. Okay, Kelly. Oh, I think Kelly was just answering a question there. Thank you, Kelly. Next, for Braintrust trust and qualification, I think there's only talent candidates must be joined our client's project. How can I show my talents to Braintrust? Tyler, great question. Right now, it's exclusively, you would demonstrate your skills and your talent and your experience through your profile. So that's your key to the world right there. Make it look as good as you can. We're working on other ways of doing that. So stay tuned for that. Costa said, yeah, I've applied for a couple jobs, didn't receive an answer. This is very top of mind for us. It'd be good to get an auction completed or auto message saying, yeah, Costa's definitely a very popular request. Thank you. We're working on it. Same with the next one, Fanor. I think that, same question.
And just to clarify, it's not we're still gathering feedback or we're going to do this soon. It is literally in development now. So we're actively developing this, and it will be coming in the next couple weeks.
Next one's from Tim Minch. This is a really great point. So Tim's basically saying, can we also have an option instead of bidding fixed price or hourly, could we do like a retainer basis? And this kind of helps sort of limit the cognitive load required on bidding on all these projects. And look, I think that's how like most of the world's work gets done is on retainers, not hourly or not necessarily project basis. So this is, the short answer is this is kind of already happening today. Basically how it works is you'll establish a relationship with a client. You'll do a test project. They'll really like you. And then you can negotiate a retainer, and you just basically invoice every month or every 2 weeks based on your agreement with the client through Braintrust. And we handle all the payment and all that stuff. That retainers, we have several Braintrust core people that are on retainers, others prefer hourly. So it's possible today. I think the point you're making is we should productize that. And I completely agree with you. We should add that to the roadmap.
Agreed. Yeah, and I think from the employer side as well, like in many cases, they don't know the actual hours to do some of these projects. They know that they need someone full-time or part-time or some variation of those. So kind of making it easy for them to self-select there. It's a great point. Thank you so much for surfacing that, Tim.
Awesome. Next one from Tyler. For expanding Braintrust, I think it needs new talent members' recommendations for clients. I totally agree. So there's sort of two ways we're doing this. One, when a client does post a job, they are recommended talent based on skills that the talent have selected. So this is another reason to keep your skill set up to date. They are shown recommendations from us. Mark and Mark's team also help a lot with that. And so it's sort of one of these things that starts off not that sophisticated and gets better over time.
I think there might be another dimension to this question as well. So I'll just in case, you might be saying also that when new talent joins, they might have previous clients that they've worked with in the past that could actually be a good fit for Braintrust, or would be interested in using the platform. Let's say you're a mobile developer, but you have clients that need data science folks. We want to enable you to be able to bring on those customers and essentially earn a percentage of what they do on the platform. Even if they're not hiring you, if they're hiring another freelancer, we want you to be able to be incentivized and make money when that client hires other kinds of talent on the platform. So we actually find that pretty common. Michael had actually reached out during this AMA to recommend a client as well. And so you can do that. Obviously, I put my email in there, Gabe at usebraintrust.com. If you have clients that are interested in doing work, right now it would be pretty rudimentary, but I think we'll enable that as a feature to be able to invite employers.
Exactly. The rest of these here looks like just people looking for the Slack channel. And so we'll be sending that out later. So if you got this invite today, that means you're an approved talent member of Braintrust. You're getting our newsletters, unless you mark them as spam or unsubscribe. Please don't do that. And then, and you're on the platform. So we will make sure everybody, we send a follow-up to get everybody on the Slack channel for sure. That's where new jobs get promoted. We can kind of hang out like this and talk about new ideas. And then my email address is adam@usebraintrust.com. Feel free to email any of us ideas, ways we can improve, constructive criticism. We love it. This is what we're here for, guys. This is what we love doing.
Just one more thing, I just want to reinforce that, like, getting your talent profiles, like investing the time and energy to build out your talent profiles goes further than you can possibly imagine. Like when we're in meetings with Fortune 500 companies, literally we pull up talent profiles and show them examples of the kinds of people that are on Braintrust. So I just want to reinforce the importance of that. Is that the more that you invest in building out your profile, the higher the chances that you will win projects, because this is how the employer makes a decision. Is they look at your profile, they look at your portfolio, they look at your experience, they look at the way in which your description has been written out, right? Like they look at all those things. And so the details really matter, and completeness really matters there.
And we're gonna, we're about to release a fully redesigned version of the talent profile, which looks awesome. It looks a lot better. The one today is great, but it looks even better. And so, that's our job here as the core team is to keep the platform upgrading, keep bringing new clients on, keep helping all of us, build our freelance businesses. So with that, we will close out this AMA for January 2020. I cannot overemphasize how grateful I am to have all these awesome, talented people on the platform. And thank you guys for all your feedback and your questions. And thanks for helping us build this. And, we're all going to have a big year this year.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
I'll get with you later, Gabriel.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the
Thanks, guys.
invitation.
Thank you.
Bye.
Guys, see you.
Cheers,
Guys,
folks.
bye.